Welcome to Season 5 of Entrepreneurial Insights. Today is our first episode of the new year, and I am so excited that we have joined the YouTube generation. So we will now have audio and video of our podcast. I'm Kirsten Crutcher. I'm the Executive Director of the Society of Entrepreneurs.
I'm Jay Healy. I'm the co-host of the podcast, and I'm happy to be here. It is quite an evolution to be on video.
Yes. I'm not sure how we're going to go with this, but we're going to go with it anyway. That's right. And today I'm so excited. Our guest is Susan Stephenson. Susan is the co-chair and president of Independent Bank, a local institution that we are so proud of in Memphis, and also the chairman of the Society of Entrepreneurs. Welcome, Susan. We're so glad to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I think I'm glad to be here, with the exception of the fact that we're now part of the video generation. So,
yes,
apologies to all.
That's right. Watch us when you'll be watching it on YouTube. There'll be all these different filters because we're going to experiment with all of that.
Exactly, with all the above.
That's right. Well, Susan, just to get us started, why don't you tell us a little bit about the bank? Who are you and what do you do?
All right. Well, we actually have just celebrated, in April of last year, we celebrated our 25th anniversary, which is remarkable. We're a local institution that was founded in April of 1998. Our business model has always been we want to serve our entire community, focus on entrepreneurs because it's something that we are ourselves. We also have a large consumer business where we are doing business actually across the entire Southeast with a program that finances cars in those states. We have a number of other unique businesses that we've built over the years. We are just under $1.5 billion in size, which is after our 25 years a pretty extraordinary achievement. We're one of the first homegrown institutions that has reached that milestone without an acquisition. The business is really hyper-focused on our customers. And when I say that, our logo, if you take a look at it, it is actually a stick figure with their hands extended to serve. And we've built this company with the idea that everyone has a choice about where they do their banking business, and we want to give you reason to choose us again and again. So that's a little bit about who we are. I could talk for hours, but instead I'll pause.
It would be great if you said the name of the bank.
Our bank is Independent Bank. Most people shorthand for us as iBank.
Yes.
We are also really fortunate to have two branded buildings, one downtown in the Skyline and one out east. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Jay, for reminding me to promote my brand.
After 25 years, you're one of the largest Memphis-based banks at this point.
We are actually, truly as a Memphis-based institution, the bank that is in front of us is First Horizon. Mm-hmm. They're about 80 times our size. They're probably not worried about me. I don't know. They may be worried about me right now, but
it's a great accomplishment.
It is. Yeah. And actually, I have to say, I'm a person who believes in abundance, so I love my competitors and really wish for all of us to continue to thrive and do well. So I began my career at First Tennessee, and I had, as a result of the extraordinary opportunities that they gave to me while I was a very young person. Mm-hmm. I have had a chance to have a career that in a business that I love with people that are really important to me. So it's been a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you did this with your partner, Chip Dudley, that you have a long history of working with him. You want to talk about how you guys decided to go ahead and start your own bank?
I have to say, in fact, when I talk about this, I say that we are very fortunate to have long relationships in our life. And my partner and I have worked together for 45 years.
That's awesome.
Which is really amazing.
And unique.
And remarkable that we have both survived to this point. It is a very unusual partnership in many ways. We met one another when we were both with First Tennessee Bank, now First Horizon. We had a chance to work directly together for a number of years. And we developed a really strong working relationship. We understood, both of us believe that working hard is one of the keys to having success. And so that was a part of our commonality, the things that we shared. More importantly, we always had an idea of what we could do better if we were in charge.
Very important, yeah.
Which is
The
which
good
is
and the
one
bad.
of the things that you learn as you do anything over time is there's a better way to do that, or I think there's a better way to do that. Chip and I had a chance to both work together at Boatman's Bank of Tennessee, and then when Chip had a chance to go run the Boatman's Bank franchise in the state of Arkansas, I had a chance to run the Tennessee banks. Our company was purchased by a very large national financial institution, and it was not a great fit for our personalities. And for the first time, we were really in a position in terms of our personal resources to make a decision to take the leap that we had long discussed and to start our own company. I tell people all the time that you have to be prepared if you're an entrepreneur to have things go exactly as planned and things go exactly the opposite from plan. And one of the things that has made our partnership really successful is that we have a mutual commitment to finding our next step forward, regardless of what we've faced. And I like to tell people we started the bank in 1998, and in that time, from that time to this, 14 of the 15 largest financial disasters have happened. So,
And you've weathered the storm.
we have extraordinary timing, as I like to say.
And would you say that if somebody decided that they were going to start a bank today, it would be a very different process than when you were starting, just because of all of the government regulations and all of that? Or do you think somebody could just, if they wanted to, or would it still be so hard?
There are many things I would say if you wanted to start a bank right now, because this is a very complex business that has become, in the last 25 years, even more complex. So I would say, first of all, make certain that you understand what your strategy is, who you hope to serve, where you hope to go. But I'd also say that there's always a place for great business people with good ideas. I'm not looking for additional competitors. Thank you. I have very much. I have plenty.
Right.
But I also think all the time that I support people who have a commitment and a passion about moving in a new direction. So, but it is expensive. And I will say, when we started the bank, we raised $20 million. But we put our own money in first and committed to having the largest share of the company. And that decision has allowed us to make many subsequent decisions that have served us well. I always believe that if you're serious about something, then you have to be as completely invested as anyone else is in the process. And that's been our commitment from the beginning to the end. And today, we have grown that $20 million in initial investment to today the bank's capital is $160 million. So
That's awesome.
while we've been growing, we've been making money and returning it to the people who've joined us in this process.
So, Susan, when people start banks, oftentimes they'll buy out small banks, but did independent banks start from scratch? And if that's the case, how does that story go?
Okay, well, actually, that is true, that many people who start a new financial institution frequently start with a small bank with an existing charter. But in our case, we did in fact start from scratch. And that requires a number of additional steps, so that we were in a position where we had to receive regulatory approval. We had to go through a process where we were deemed fit to be in charge of financial institution. We also, that fundraising component that I mentioned,
right.
we were in a position where we were entirely dependent on creating our own equity in the organization. The other thing that is important about starting from scratch, which we often tell the story, it is very true. On April 20th of 1998, we were opening our doors, and my partner and I very proudly went to the front of our branch, opened the doors wide to welcome in our customers, and there was no one there. No, they did come. It's true. We were a bit early because our enthusiasm resulted in being overexcited, like preparing for a great big game if you're an athlete. So we arrived. We were early, but the good news is at the end of our first day, we had already had deposits totaling almost $2 million.
Wow.
So we literally said, okay, we just have to do this 252 days because that's how many working days there are, and we'll be huge. Yeah. This is no problem. Fate would have it, it's like that. As mentioned earlier, you got to be prepared for the things that don't go exactly as scripted. We were very successful. We reached milestones that were ahead of plan, and we're very proud to be in a position where most financial institutions, when you start an institution from scratch, it takes about 2 to 3 years to reach break even. And we actually made a profit in our 13th month.
Wow.
And have been profitable. And there's no wood to knock on. So I'm just going to say that an incredibly superstitious person that I am, I'm going to say that we've been able to continue that trend.
Yeah. Looking back, was there anything that you did that took you to that level of success so quickly?
There are so many things that we did intentionally, and so many things that we did that were a result of a need of a moment or happenstance. We were able to produce, because of our business in the consumer space, we were able to produce so many loans that we were reaching a point where we were going to be capital constrained if we didn't find an outlet for those. And literally, we were sitting around a conference room table and this is one of those times where you think divine intervention is most certainly involved. We were sitting around a table and thinking about how we were going to take the next step. We were either going to have to slow down our growth or we were going to have to find a new outlet. And we said, what would really be wonderful, because in past lives we had had a chance to bundle our indirect automobile loans and sell those in the marketplace because their credit quality is so strong and because the characteristics of cash flow are so attractive. And we said, we wonder how you do that, wonder what would be required. And literally on the table there was a copy of that day's Wall Street Journal. And on the bottom half of the front page was an article about a guy who worked for a financial institution that actually did that work. And as you noted earlier, my partner's name is Chip Dudley, and this gentleman's name was David Dudley.
Wow.
And he said, well, it appears to me that we should pick up the phone and call and see if he wants to take care of us, which is such a crazy kind of conversation to have. You're literally sitting around a table. We're a brand new bank. We've never sold our assets. We were in a position where we were picking up the phone sight unseen to call someone actually we called New York, and they said, well, he's not here, he's in Salt Lake City. And we said, could you transfer us? And they did. Because this is how great stories work. He answered the phone. We introduced ourselves, and he said immediately to my partner, he said, well, hey, cuz. We started a relationship that's lasted for the last 25 years. And one of the things we were able to do, one of the reasons we were able to so quickly get to break even, is that we were able to sell the excess loans that we produced in the consumer space at a profit, service those, and continue to originate new loans. So it was a business model that was really very effective and very unusual.
Wow, that's great. It's interesting because I always think about when I'm up at Independent Bank is that I know your people are so important to you, the people at the bank. And I also know that several are family, not just cousins. No. How is that on a daily basis to work with family and close friends now?
We are all family, but there are some of us who are actually legally related to one another. My partner and I have both had the opportunity to work with our children at the bank, and they have been hardworking and have made a commitment to do every job they've been asked to do. And I also have had the exceptional opportunity to work with my spouse. Tom and I have, we met at First Tennessee also. He is a very accomplished banker. He was the president of another financial institution, which he started here in Memphis, ran it for several years. They were acquired. And after they were acquired, he had a window where he was prohibited from working for another financial institution. Sure. So he started another company and was doing financial consulting. We asked him to work with us initially as hey, listen, would you consider coming to work for 10 hours a week?
And that
yeah, right. I was just saying. And 10 hours a week turned into 55 to 60 hours a week, and we have worked together since 2005 officially. And when you ask the question, what is it like? I would say in every case, it is important that the lines are clear about this is our business and this is our personal lives. Mm-hmm. We have to try to make sure that I will tell you, there's with certainty we talk about business all the time, so it's not as though there's a switch that you can turn it off. But we also we respect the sort of broad parameters that you need to have for a relationship with somebody that you work with. I am very serious when I say that there are people who commit with the same level of enthusiasm and truly fervor for your business, and it is really important to recognize that the people who have been a part of my children call Independent Bank their other sibling. The high maintenance, very difficult, lots of trouble sibling. And you say that, but they believe in it in the same way that I do. And so I'm very fortunate to have talented and capable people who are also related to my family and to my partner's family who have given us the privilege of working with us, because they're as invested as we are.
That's great. It probably really makes it a lot more fun to be
there. It does.
Actually,
it does, and it makes it it makes it clear that this is a business that is. I never have a moment where I don't consider this truly a part of my family, my core relationships, the people that I have a chance to be with every day are people that are incredibly important to me, and there is no question that they have been our secret sauce. They have been the reason that we have had a chance to really thrive in really complicated times. As we mentioned earlier, it's the people who have made that possible, and that's everyone. So I have as I said earlier, I work with my family, and I'm related to some of them.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
that's
a
very
great,
good. That's
great
very
framework.
Good. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, Susan, I know Memphis is not your home. It is now, but it is not where you were born and raised. East Tennessee called your name. But you came to Memphis, and we've had many conversations about the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Memphis. One of the things that we've talked about is just there is something in the water. Memphis has got many entrepreneurs. Why do you think that is?
This is when we talk about Memphis, who we are, what has made this place so exceptional and so different. I believe that this is a place where people are strong and resilient, and we solve problems. And at the end of the day, entrepreneurs are people who solve problems. They solve business problems. They solve sales or delivery problems. They solve problems for people. In my experience here, Memphians love to help each other. We don't talk about it nearly enough, but this is a place where we find a way. If you have a great idea, you will find an audience with really important and powerful people to help you realize your entrepreneurial dream. It is a sort of a core characteristic to this community that is different from other people's. And we've talked about this over and over again, and I probably talk about it, as you can tell, I'm very excited about the topic. So when I start to talk about it, I get overcharged. I lean in. My voice goes up. It's partly because when you think about the history of this place, I mean, literally, disease has attempted to wipe us off the map at the beginning.
For sure.
We literally lost our city charter. And we have
Not during the pandemic.
not
but
during the
this
pandemic.
Goes way
This
back.
is yes,
Yellow
this is
fever.
yellow fever, right?
Way.
Many years ago. But that experience has sort of fostered a we're going to get back up
Oh,
again
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
attitude. I don't
Grit and grind.
Grit and grind, exactly, and it's reflected. It's perfectly reflected in our sports franchises. It's perfectly reflected in the very nature of communities, the way that we organize ourselves. We are literally a place, just think about it. We've invented everything from family hotels to over-the-counter pharmaceuticals to overnight delivery to world-class breakthrough treatments for childhood cancer, which we then give away to the world. This place is, it's a breeding ground for ideas. And we are probably, of all the places that you can imagine, a one-man can kind of a place. And that is, Henry Turley said that to me 45 years ago. And I've believed it ever since, that literally in this place, you can find a great idea, can connect with a group of people to help realize that dream.
Yeah.
It is. We're very, very fortunate here, I think. So
The Society of Entrepreneurs is one of those resources for
Absolutely.
anybody who wants to start a company or grow their company. I mean, everything that Pearson provides can be a great resource for that plan.
And I would just say, just for a moment, just to talk about that. First of all, we're one of a kind. There's not a society of entrepreneurs in every city everywhere.
Right.
We are the unique byproduct of a group of visionary people who sat around a table one day and said, we have to find a way to honor and celebrate the people who've built this community, who've built this city. And as I say all the time, Walker and all of the original members of the Society of Entrepreneurs had the idea that we wanted to perpetuate it wasn't
Keep the momentum going.
just a let us pat ourselves on the back. It was rather let us foster the next generation of entrepreneurs and the next and the next. And we do things at the Society of Entrepreneurs. If you haven't had a chance to hear about it, please listen in. We have mentorships, we have roundtables, we have opportunities to listen to the very best and brightest people in all disciplines across this community. And it's done in a way that allows true connection and access. And that is the greatest gift of all. But the idea in our relationship with Epicenter and other entrepreneurial organizations in this community, we are attempting to replicate the DNA of this community, the opportunity to be certain that there'll be a next generation who will solve, as did all of the folks from Fred Smith and Pitt Hyde and Kemmons Wilson, the list goes on, from those extraordinary founders of institutions across our city, we have a chance to make certain that we're fostering the very next generation of those people. It is a truly one-of-a-kind organization doing important work to make certain that this city thrives.
Do you feel proud, Pearson?
I am. I mean, I do, but I just keep thinking of the word I always think is accessibility.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is something that everybody really does want to reach out, and it is. And people say, why aren't there society of entrepreneurs in other cities? And I think that they tend to work in silos, and they want to keep their what they've accomplished over here, and here I don't see it that way at all. I feel like nobody says they won't help if they have the time and ability to do so. So we're very, very fortunate.
And in fact, that's that same spirit, that St. Jude kind of spirit, which is, let me share with you what I wish I had known, or what I have learned the very hard way. Let me share that with you so that you can find your path forward and maybe avoid a pitfall or two. And by the way, your obligation is at the next point that you pass the baton and you share what you learned along the way. It is making our city a better place over and over and over again.
Susan, I don't even know where we could go from there. I think that was pretty much the perfect ending to this wonderful podcast. I appreciate everything that you do. I mean, you're as I mentioned before, Susan is the chairman of the board of the society and is wonderful. Always takes my call, so I really appreciate that. So,
well, I gotta say,
it's been a pleasure.
It is really nice to have a chance to be here, and I say this as a part of this Society of Entrepreneurs, but actually as a part of this place that I love so much. Memphis we tend to see all of our flaws. And as I have learned, when I came here 45 years ago, downtown was shuttered. We were in a place where we were really, there was no ecosystem for tourism. There was no really positive forward momentum. And I think we tend to look at short windows and don't look at longer arcs of time. But what I say over and over again is this place that we have gathered, this community, has all of the ingredients for greatness. We are benefiting from economic prosperity that is here today and growing as we move forward. We are, if you take a look at what's happened with Blue Oval, if you take a look at what's happened all across our community, we are building a better place with opportunity for all of us to have prosperity. This is a diverse place, and it is our strength, not our weakness. So I would just say again and again, we need to be cheerleaders for this place, and we have a chance to do it. I would say over and over again, we are privileged to live in this place, to be at this time where we can be a part of the forward momentum, this tsunami of great things that are on the horizon. And I'm excited to have a chance to do that.
Well said.
Well said, and thank you so much for what you've done for this city and for being here with us today.
Yes.
Happy to do it. Thank you all so much.
This is a lot of fun.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for being with us today. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. You can find us on YouTube or anywhere else you listen or view podcasts. We hope you subscribe and listen to future episodes as we go forward. Thank you.